Nasty.
He's got a lot of pitches.
You can pick out one of those on any given day to be his feature pitch, and that's kind of what makes him so tough.
One of the best in the game. Been one of the best in the game for a long time.
He is a bulldog. He wants to strike you out all the time.
Felix Hernandez taking the mound. He's all of 29 years of age. He's led the league in ERA twice. He's tied for the league lead in wins once. He is the ace of a Seattle staff that has, like the Twins, kind of struggled so far this year. The starting rotation has, and so we'll see what happens and what the Twins can get done against Hernandez with the King and his court in attendance. The Menards batting order for the Twins: Danny Santana, Torrey Hunter, Joe Mauer. Mauer with good numbers against Hernandez. Middle of the lineup of Dozier, Vargas, and Plouffe, Arcia, Suzuki, and Schaefer.
Yeah, Hernandez in his 11th season. Now, this is his 17th career start against the Twins. In the 16 previous starts, very good earned run average at 2.08. But the Twins have also handled him at times pretty good. 7 wins, 5 losses against the Twins. And we'll see how he fares here tonight.
Both teams had an off day yesterday. Hernandez delivers high to Danny Santana. Twins are hoping that the second off day of the year will provide a bit of a boost like the first one did. And a strike. Not talking about the first one, I guess, in Detroit, but the one after the opening game of the first series with Kansas City. The Twins went after that, won 4 of their next 5 games. And Santana takes an off-speed pitch, 1-2.
You know, it's not about Felix Hernandez blowing everybody away with a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. He'll top out at 93, 94. But it's the other pitches that he has that are just nasty.
Well, that was 92 in a good spot, and Santana strikes out on 4 pitches. Northland Ford defense for the Seattle Mariners. An outfield of Dustin Ackley, Austin Jackson, and Nelson Cruz. An infield of Kyle Seager, Brad Miller, Robinson Cano, Logan Morrison. Mike Zunino has played in every game so far for the Mariners, and he's in there again tonight. 1 down, and now Torrey Hunter will bring a 7-game hitting streak into tonight's action. On the outside corner, a strike.
Yeah, Torrey has the most at-bats against Felix Hernandez. 75 at-bats, 24 hits, a .320 batting average, but he has also struck out 20 times against King Felix.
Inside, might have almost brushed his jersey. 1-1.
Yeah, he has that 4-seam fastball that he struck out Santana on. Then you saw that last fastball that will run in on right-handed hitters.
1-1. Swing and a miss, 1-2. Hunter with all those at bats because, of course, for 5 years he was in the same division as Hernandez and the Mariners when he was with the Angels.
Yeah, all those hits, but no home runs.
1-2. Check swing. Hunter gone. I think home plate umpire Scott Berry called a foul tip. So 2 strikeouts on 8 pitches to start the ball game. Tonight's Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. And Hernandez has already picked up 2 more strikeouts. And well, I hope it doesn't happen tonight, but eventually he will surpass Johan Santana on the Venezuelan Major League strikeout list.
Yeah, he now needs 12 strikeouts to tie Johan Santana for the all-time Venezuelan-born pitcher for strikeouts.
Ball 1 to Mauer. Sometimes a measure of a hitter is how he does against the best pitchers, and that's one of the things Joe has excelled at. He has the highest career batting average of anyone against Felix Hernandez.
14 hits in 37 at-bats, a couple home runs. It's a .378 batting average.
1-1. And now a foul. And with 2 strikes, the court down the left field line takes their placards and start chanting
K. Okay.
Foul.
Hernandez has been a workhorse over the last 7 seasons, 200+ innings per year. Also 200 and more strikeouts over his last 6 seasons. Threw a perfect game in 2012.
Up and in, 2-2.
Hernandez making his 307th major league start, 127 wins, 92 losses, an ERA of 3.07. He has 23 complete games, 9 shutouts, and his last shutout came against the Twins back in 2012, also his last complete game.
Ball, third strike. 3 of them to start the ball game on a total of 13 pitches. Phil Hughes will take the mound, hoping to have a similar bottom of the inning. Had some pitching issues. Their lineup has produced better than the Twins have to this point. Here's the Lennard batting order for the opening game of this series. Austin Jackson, the former Tiger, has done well against Phil Hughes. Then Seth Smith, Robinson Cano, former teammate of Phil Hughes, Nelson Cruz, Kyle Seager, Dustin Ackley, Logan Morrison, Mike Zunino, and Brad Miller.
And it will be Phil Hughes on the mound, making his 4th start. We showed you the numbers were how he has pitched here at Safeco Field. 5-0, ERA under 1 in 4 starts, 6 games. Only one of those starts as a Twin, the other one's as a Yankee.
Austin Jackson on the first pitch fouls it back.
And I know, just talking to Phil, what he wants to try to establish tonight is that little cutter. He's been missing with that a little bit, left some balls out over the plate. Only allowed 16 home runs last year. He's given up 4 already in the first 3 starts.
Driven to right. Hunter will chase it and chase it down in the gap. 1 down.
Yeah, nice running catch by Torrey Hunter out on right field.
Northland Ford defense for the Twins. Hunter with a catch in right field. Joined in the outfield by Jordan Schaefer in center. And Oswaldo Arcia in left. Trevor Plouffe, Danny Santana, Brian Dozier, Joe Mauer, and Suzuki behind the plate. 1 down and Smith to the plate. One of the reasons that you'd expect Hughes to pitch well in this ballpark, he is a fly ball pitcher, and this is about as good a pitcher's ballpark for a fly ball pitcher as there is in the American League.
Yeah, you know, the dimensions aren't bad, I mean, for a hitter, but the ball just doesn't seem to carry as well here as some other ballparks. Maybe the dampness with fastball there, throwing it past Smith.
Move the fences in here before the 2014 season, trying to generate a little more offense. Smith, their designated hitter. 0-2 from Hughes.
Yeah, Smith in his first season last year with the Padres.
Just off the plate. One of the things that it's not troubling, but it's curious. Hughes has had a tough time striking people out. 6 in his first game, 4 in the next, just 3 against the Indians in his last start. And he picks up a strikeout of Smith, 2 away.
Good location of that fastball down and away. So 4 of the 5 outs here so far have come on strikeouts. Great location.
That'll bring up Robinson Cano.
7 seasons these two were teammates with the New York Yankees.
Cano faced Hughes once last year, went 1 for 3. Both found new homes starting in 2014. Cano, a big free agent signee of the Mariners. Hughes, at the time, signing the biggest free agent contract, eclipsed by Ricky Nolasco. Inside, and it's 2-0. And that both of those contracts, of course, eclipsed by Irvin Santana this offseason. Two and 0, fouled away 2-1.
Cano, a 6-time All-Star, 2-time Gold Glove winner at second base. Career .310 hitter coming into this season. Came up with the Yankees in 2005, spent 9 years with them.
That's to the left field corner, twisting foul.
Cano, 32 years old, out of the Dominican Republic.
Let me just correct my chronology. Ricky Nolasco was signed 2 days before Phil Hughes during the off season prior to the 2014 regular season.
Glad you got that right.
When you make a mistake, and I make many of them, but when you make it in the first inning, I got 3 hours to get it right eventually. Full count to Cano. Slugger Nelson Cruz on deck.
Sure glad I haven't made one yet.
And a couple of strikeouts for Hughes, and each starting pitcher has a good first inning. More Felix Hernandez for the Mariners when we come back.
will lead off the second inning for Minnesota. I spoke to Twins hitting coach Tom Bernansky about the approach against King Felix, and it is our Subway scouting report. He said, first of all, you have to battle him pitch by pitch, because when you face a guy as dominant as he is, each pitch is an opportunity, each pitch is important. He also said you can't let a bad at-bat affect your next at-bat. That only feeds into what Hernandez is doing. And finally, Bruno said, hunt the heater. Whether it's the first pitch you see or late in the count, Twins have to try to attack the fastball whenever they see it. Dick and Bert, those three easy things are what the Twins are trying to do tonight against King Felix.
Sounds easy, doesn't it?
Called strike 1-1 to Brian Dozier. Paul Molitor said essentially the same thing. He's hoping to see hitters, well, like Santana and not so much Hunter. He's a veteran, but some of the younger hitters facing Felix Hernandez, and if the first at bat doesn't go well, as it didn't for Santana, don't carry that with you into the next at bat. Try to have the same approach as if he didn't strike you out on 4 pitches.
Yeah, Cy Young Award winner in 2010, Hernandez.
And the dirt 2-2.
Some people think that he should have won it last year. It was Corey Kluber that ended up winning it last year. 15-6, 2.14 ERA. That was the best in the American League in 34 starts, 236 innings pitched, only 170 hits allowed.
High fastball gets Dozier. 4 strikeouts to open the ball game for Felix Hernandez.
Well, you go back to May 5th of 2012. Hernandez, over his last 4 starts, 3-0, 0.79 earned run average, 34 innings pitched, only 4 walks, 30 strikeouts, and did not allow a home run. Only 3 runs allowed over those 4 starts.
Faced the Twins once last year. He did not face the Twins here last year when the Twins had a 4-game series. Vargas takes an off-speed pitch, strike 1. Twins were here in July, right before the All-Star break last year, and they had a weekday 4-game series. 1 strike to Vargas. A ball put in play, and Hernandez makes a nice fielding play for out number 2. Twins have to face the Seattle ace, Felix Hernandez. They will not have to face Hisashi Iwakuma. About an hour before game time on our Sanford Health Injury Report, the Mariners put Iwakuma on the disabled list with a strained latissimus dorsi.
Oh, wow. Sounds like that hurts.
Lucas Litke called up, but he's a left-handed reliever, and Mariners haven't officially announced who will start on Sunday. Roenis Elias's name has been brought up as a candidate. Here's Trevor Plouffe on the ground, 1 hop to Cano. Progress. Twins put a couple balls in play, but it's another 1-2-3 second inning. You're watching the Twins Mariners series on Fox Sports North, presented by Subway. 8 home runs. Through 15 games, Nelson Cruz has hit 8 home runs.
Yeah, the 17 RBIs right there, leading the American League, all of baseball, and runs batted in. In his first season here in Seattle, signing a 4-year contract with the Mariners over the winter.
And Hughes delivers a fastball, flared foul, 1 strike. Mariners felt they needed to get a free agent hitter in here to back up their big free agent hitting acquisition the winter before. They felt last year that teams weren't pitching to Robinson Cano because there wasn't any established hitter hitting behind him. Foul backing out of play.
Let's take a look at Nelson Cruz's hot zone so far this season. You can see down and away, hitting only .231. Likes to open up quickly, use the barrel of the bat, and hit it a long way. Up and away, pretty good power the other way.
And squibbed up the line and tried to spin fair, but Mauer picks up a foul ball. So he hit it right off the end of the bat.
See, the only thing I have trouble with that right there, Joe Mauer picked up that ball, probably picked it up, and didn't throw it back to Phil Hughes. That ball might have had a nice cut on it.
Scott Berry wouldn't have allowed that. They would have taken that ball out of play. You know, everything for the hitters.
I agree.
2 strikes to Cruz.
Suzuki sitting down and away.
Breaking ball.
Just missing. That's a pitch that I talked to Phil. He said he'd like to use a little bit more because, you know, everybody's sitting now on that fastball, little cutter. Needs to pick up that secondary and third pitch.
Number 9 is gone. Into the second deck. That ball rocketed to left field.
We're going to show you the location of that. That was a mistake by Phil Hughes. And he paid for it. Let's do a little pitch by pitch. Phil Hughes against Nelson Cruz in this at bat as Nelson Cruz celebrates. There's that fastball. He just kind of opens up a little bit. And then the fastball that he fouls straight back. He tried the breaking ball. There's a fastball off the end. Tried the breaking ball right here. Just missed. And Suzuki wanting to go in. But we showed you that hot zone inside. He likes to open up.
Looked like Hughes delivered the pitch right where the catcher wanted it.
Yep.
But it never got to the mitt. 1 strike now to Kyle Seager. That's fair, just inside the line. And it's wedged under the padding. It will be a double for Seager.
Seager with his 4th double of the year. Had a career year last year when he hit 25 home runs and drove in 96 runs. So they feel that with Cano, Nelson, and Seager, that's a nice 1-2-3 punch in their lineup.
And now Dustin Ackley. Over the inside corner with a fastball. Hughes got ahead of Cruz. A 1-2 pitch. Hammered to left. Now a backup double.
Ackley, 27 years old, in his 5th season with the Mariners.
Popped up, and it will reach the seats, and Hughes gets ahead of Ackley.
Ackley, former #1 pick by Seattle back in 2009 out of the University of North Carolina. With that full beard going.
Just missed the corner with the cutter.
Good fastball right there. Good location.
Hughes in a spot where he could use a strikeout. He got 2 of them in the 1st inning. Yeah, hard to center. Schaefer going back. And a nice Nice running catch on the warning track. Seager retreats to second and does not advance. So Seager a little frustrated because he thought that ball had cleared the center fielder Schaefer, or would, but Schaefer got a good jump, made a nice catch.
Well, even if that ball is dropped right there over his head, Seager's going to score from second base. He's kind of caught in no man's land. Great catch right there by Jordan Schaefer, going back, keeping his eye on the ball, over the shoulder catch, gets it back in quickly to Santana, and Seager still at second.
And here is Logan Morrison. Driven to deep right center field. Schaefer chases this one down. Those are two of the longest fly ball outs, loudest fly ball outs I've heard this year.
All right, if you're the pitcher right now, Phil Hughes, you have to take your time a little bit and let your center fielder catch his breath. Because again, Jordan Schaefer has to get on his wheels and go and make a nice running catch. And able to catch up to that ball and for the second out.
The 4 hardest balls hit of the year that I've seen: a long home run, a ringing double, and 2 deep flies that might have left every ballpark but this one. Here is Zunino. Strike on the outside corner. You give up 4 hard shots like that, and if you can get off the mound trailing just 1-0. And of course, Seager still at second base because he failed to advance on the Ackley fly ball.
Yeah, it should be a 2-0 ball game right now. Seager just some bad base running, not on Morrison's, but on Ackley.
Swing and a miss, that ends the inning. Might have a little bit longer break here in between innings with Jordan Schaefer leaving 2 separate tracks on the warning track. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. By NorthlandFord.com and your local Northland Ford dealer. And by Grand Casino. The best stories start here. A 1-0 lead for Felix Hernandez, who has a couple of perfect innings going for himself. It'll be the bottom third of the Twins lineup then. That means Arcia, Suzuki, and Schaefer. Twins need to get some production from the bottom 3 hitters. It's been a slow go for the lineup as a whole. But particularly now, RC hitting 184, Suzuki 195, and Schaefer hitting just 114. Popped up right field. Plenty of hang time for Nelson Cruz. One down. Felix Hernandez has been the definition of a game changer since the 2009 season, ranking first in all of baseball in innings pitched and strikeouts, second to only Clayton Kershaw in ERA. He's third in opponent batting average and ranks ninth in wins with 88. And about 2 weeks ago, he turned 29 years of age.
Yeah, that's why a lot of people feel that that man right there, King Felix, might be the best right-handed pitcher in baseball.
Suzuki takes up and away, ball one. Suzuki needed the off day yesterday after taking a beating in the Kansas City series. And over for strike one. So many weapons and seemingly command of a vast assortment of pitches. Swing and a miss.
There's that changeup right there. Kind of a forgotten pitch, but I tell you what, his fastball sets it up, his hard curveball sets it up, and there's the off-speed pitch. Great location, just on the other side of home plate.
He struck out the first four batters. And now strikeout number 5. May 26th is Healthcare Professionals Night at Target Field. Special ticket packages are available that includes exclusive Twins branded scrubs. Limited number of ticket packages available, and your only way to get your Twins scrubs. Visit twinsbaseball.com/healthcare for tickets and more information. Here is Jordan Schaefer. Up and away, ball one.
You know, if you're a young pitcher, say a May or a Gibson, you're on that top step. You're watching this guy go about his business right here. He works quick, throws strikes. This will be pitch number 30.
This time he's fallen behind 2-0. Schaefer trying to break a hitless string that has grown to 20 at bats. And on April 24th, if you've had an 0 for 20, you're going to have a very low batting average, and Schaefer does. Cano with a nice backhanded pickup. And a tag by Morrison at first. Paul Molitor coming out. Schaefer holding his left hand. Don't know whether this will be reviewed or not. But Schaefer was tagged and maybe collided with his left hand.
It looked like he touched maybe his right elbow right here, but swat Schaefer.
Seattle, bottom of the third, and a special guest, Seattle native and Minnesota Timberwolf Zach LaVine is here tonight, who threw out the first pitch. It's a little chilly here tonight, but you got some good seats, enjoying some good baseball. What are you doing here in the off season, and since the Wolves season has ended just a couple of weeks ago?
It just felt really good to come back home for a while. Cold out here, feels like I'm in Minnesota still, but they told me to come out here and throw the first pitch, and it was a blessing. I jumped right on it.
Before the Wolves season started, you threw out a first pitch at Target Field. Yeah. What did you learn in that first attempt that you brought with you here at Safeco tonight?
Calm your nerves a little bit. Calm your nerves, and don't try to overthrow it. Last time I think I clutched up a little bit, didn't throw it as fast. This time I was good, smooth. I was good.
It looked smooth. It looked to be a strike too.
Yeah, it was. I don't know if it was. I think it was about 85, 90. So.
You think 85, 90?
Nah, I'm messing.
You didn't check the gun.
I ain't checked the gun. Yeah.
Well, Zach, it's good to see you. Good to see you with your family here and enjoying some downtime in Seattle. Enjoy the off season.
No, definitely good to see you as well. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Dick and Bert, Zach LaVine enjoying the game here at Safeco.
All right, thank you very much. Danny Santana committing an error, allowing Brad Miller to reach for Santana. His fourth error of the season, the team's 12th.
Yeah, keep an eye on Miller at first base. Very good steal type of individual.
One strike to Austin Jackson, lined out to Hunter on the gap, and now a fly ball to right. Hunter retreating to the corner. And here's the catch. Miller bluffs a tag from first base, one down. A strikeout, in fact, 3 of them, and some outfield flies, 4 of them for Hughes so far on the night. And speaking of Phil Hughes, Star Wars night, May 4th at Target Field, and a special ticket package is available that includes a Hughes the Force bobblehead with a glow-in-the-dark lightsaber. Ticket packages are limited, and you're only able to get a bobblehead with a ticket, and you can get your tickets at twinsbaseball.com/Hughes the Fourth. Everything is on schedule. Phil Hughes is scheduled to pitch that day. Double play grounder. Nice time to get a ball hit on the ground, and boy, Santana gunned that throw over there, and that helps cover up for his opening error. North is presented by Subway. A 1-0 lead for the Mariners. Danny Santana with 4 errors, a couple of throwing errors. I think the Twins felt that he's kind of babied some of his throws. He did not baby this one.
No, he definitely helped Joe Mauer break in that first baseman's glove on this rocket that he threw over to Joe to complete the double play.
A little frustration or anger about committing the error in the first place, but now he gets his second opportunity against Felix Hernandez. Hernandez struck him out on 4 pitches to start the ball game. Mentioned Twins and Mariners have the same record at this juncture, 6-9, and both have had some pitching issues, with Felix Hernandez not can't be blamed for any of the pitching issues. He's got an ERA of 2.34, but the Mariners staff has a worse earned run average than the Twins. The Twins coming in today with a 4.64 ERA, and that's not good. But this pitching-rich Seattle roster with a team ERA of 4.83.
And that's one thing that, last year they led all of baseball in team ERA at 3.17.
And Santana goes down on 3 pitches this time.
And strikeout number 6 for Felix Hernandez.
You can see the rest of the starters, and that's with 3 good starts by Jay Happ mixed in there. Happ is 1-1 with an ERA at 2.61. The issues have been elsewhere with Taijuan Walker, Iwakuma, who's now on the disabled list.
They feel here in Seattle, the offense with the help of Cruz addition, plus the starting staff as well as they did last year overall, that they will be in the race in the American League Western Division.
Twins are facing James Paxton tomorrow. He'll tote an ERA of 8.40 into the game. Here's Hunter, struck out his first time up against Felix Hernandez. That's looped to right. Cruz to a knee to make the catch, 2 down. And that'll bring up Joe Mauer, Carsoup.com trivia. Who has pitched the most innings in the major leagues since 2005, entering tonight's game. Could be that smiling man with the baseball right there.
Could be Justin Verlander, too.
Here's Joe Mauer. Mauer fouls it back. Hauled out on strikes his first time up. When did Kershaw break into the league? It wasn't 10 years ago, was it?
No, I don't believe so.
Tamper to Sharp. Miller. And another 1-2-3 inning. 4 innings of perfection for Felix Hernandez. Not with their cleanup hitter or tonight's starting pitcher.
Well, Nelson Cruz that gave the Mariners a 1-0 lead thanks to his 9th home run of the year. First batter that Phil Hughes faced in the bottom of the second inning. And King Felix, 4 innings, 38 pitches, 27 strikes already with 6 strikeouts. 12 up, 12 down for Hernandez.
Robinson Cano will lead off the 4th for Seattle. Hughes got him on strikes to wrap up the first inning. Then Cruz, then Seager. And through the shift, right up the middle. Oh, it sounded like he might have cracked his bat. But a high chopper over the mound, and the leadoff man is on again here in the 4th. Let's check in with Marty Gilman.
Nelson Cruz comes to the plate after hitting that bomb of a home run. Before the game, I spoke to pitching coach Neil Allen about how the Twins are going to approach Cruz. He said, first of all, you cannot make a mistake over the plate. Also, we have to work in some cutters with him to get him to chase something that's moving. He also said, you have to think fastball with him. Get him thinking in, and then maybe you can go down and away with it. But you can't just let him think in. You have to tie him up in. So go hard in. That's what Neil Allen said about the approach on Cruz.
Yeah, that's the pitch right there. Thank you, Marnie. Down and away that we saw that hot zone that he's hitting only 231 this year. You know, he's got that open stance. If you go in, you have to go in off the plate. You have to brush him back.
Suzuki
Two
again
perfect
shaves
pitches.
the outside corner. Hughes left one out over the inside corner in the second inning at bat. And
You
it
go
was
in
clobbered.
here, you want to go right in there. You can't make a mistake inside. Tried fastball up a little bit. We showed you on there that he can also take that ball the other way up.
Cruz 1 year with the Orioles, an all-star year. Was at Target Field for the all-star game last summer.
Yeah, remember he was a free agent. He kind of wanted a big bucks, but he really didn't get it. So he did sign a 1-year contract, kind of a gift to the Orioles, and he had a great year for the Orioles. Hit 40 home runs, led the American League in that department. That fastball just missing. Got it away and drove in 108 runs last year.
First 3 years in the big leagues, very, to be kind, modest numbers. He didn't develop as a hitter till he went to the Rangers. 2-2. And reports now that the Rangers are about to reacquire Josh Hamilton, who was a teammate of Cruz's during their glory years a few years ago. Two and two to Nelson Cruz. Hughes got a double play grounder to end the third inning. Fastball takes care of Cruz, one away.
Good fastball there, up. So Phil Hughes picks up strikeout number 4. Do a little pitch by pitch to Cruz, down and away. That 231 batting average he took for strike 1. Went back out again. Now he's ahead 0-2. Tries to go fastball up and away just to show him that good fastball. Tried that corner again, and then see just above the letters, up and in. Good pitch.
Here's Seager. Fly ball center field. Relatively easy play for Schaefer. He's had to chase down a couple of line drives on the warning track. 2 down. That'll bring up Dustin Ackley. You can take your family to the ballpark this summer in the Minnesota Twins Our Family section, presented by Fox Sports North. Tickets in the alcohol-free section start at just $10 and includes a free Schweigert hot dog and Pepsi. For ticket information, visit foxsportsnorth.com. Click on upcoming events on the Hot Topics bar. 2 down, and now here's Ackley. Driven to right. Hit well. Hunter to the wall. Leaps and makes a catch. Third warning track liner hauled in by a Twins outfielder, keeping this game 1-0. base runner of the ball game. And our Pepsi fan of the game.
Yes.
Paying tribute to Mr. Carew.
Looks like Rod signed that jersey. Very nice.
Well,
that's a keeper.
One of just a handful of Twins that in Twins history that played against both the Mariners and the Pilots back in 1969. The Pilots the next year transplanted to Milwaukee, became the Brewers. Here's Dozier, struck out his first time up, and a Tapper foul. Armin Killebrew didn't get a chance to play against the Mariners. He was retired by that time. Tony Oliva was retired, I believe. Tony will correct me if I'm wrong. One strike to Dozier. And now two strikes.
Well, Hernandez has all his pitches working so far. That fastball, that last pitch to slider. He'll mix in a hard curveball, then the changeup.
Mentioned that the Twins faced Hernandez once last year. That was at Target Field. He was scheduled to pitch against the Twins in that 4-game series in July. But the Mariners were in pursuit of the Oakland A's, and Oakland came in after the Twins. And even though it was just July, the Mariners juggled their rotation. Dozier strikes out for the second time against King Felix.
Yeah, number 7. So far here tonight, I mean, a 1-2-3 first inning with 3 strikeouts. Santana, Hunter, Mauer. Then he starts off the second inning with Dozier, a strikeout. Hits Santana for the second time in the 4th inning. And just striking out Dozier again for 7 punch-outs so far.
Vargas hit a chopper. Hernandez fielded it, threw him out. Strike over the inside corner. His pitches move in so many different directions. That one broke down and into a left-handed batter. He can fade one away from Vargas here if he chooses to. Down and in again.
Came right back with that hard curveball underneath that swing of Vargas. Both starters throwing strikes. 44 pitches for Hernandez, 32 strikes.
Fastball outside.
Phil Hughes in his 4 innings, 39 pitches, 31 strikes.
Difference is the Mariners have blistered about 5 balls off of Phil Hughes, and the Twins haven't made solid contact yet against King Felix.
He's got to come back with that other hard curveball. But instead, fastball away.
3-hopper hit to the shortstop Miller. Low throw, and Morrison was able to dig it out. 2 down. Nothing new for Phil Hughes. Last year he was not the opening day starter for the Twins, so he didn't have to face the likes of David Price and Chris Sale and King Felix. All part of being number 1.
That's right. You want to beat the best.
Salazar looked like a number 1.
Yes, he did. 10 strikeouts in his 6 innings.
Trevor Plouffe hit a ground ball to Robinson Cano his first time up. Off the plate, ball 1. Plouffe bringing the average up to 240 by first pitch tonight. Hoping to get the Twins' first hit against Hernandez. And foul, 1-1.
Yeah, Hernandez joined the Seattle Mariners back in August of 2005 in his second major league start. His first one against the Tigers, got a no decision. His second one came against the Twins here in Seattle. He ended up locking horns with Kyle Loesch, and he won that ball game 1-0.
Driven to right, a base hit, a sharp single for Trevor Plouffe. So the way we've seen Trevor swing the bat lately, we shouldn't be surprised that it was Plouffe that broke up the no-hit bid, or where the hit went. We've better than any other Twins hitter. He's used the whole field.
Well, he came in 4 for 8 lifetime and looked like a changeup, and Trevor Plouffe stayed back nicely, got good wood on it, lined it into right field. Twins get their first hit.
Arcia with a soft line drive fielded by Cruz his first time up. First pitch. And Morrison thought about going to second, goes to the bag. The Twins get a base runner on their first hit. But Hernandez still has 5 innings of shutout ball.
And Twin fans, don't forget at Twin home games, ring your Circle B signs. And if you get circled, something like that, you may find yourself in a Minnesota Lottery winner circle where you could win $100 worth of lottery scratch-off tickets, courtesy of the Minnesota Lottery. You are hereby circled, young lady.
Logan Morrison, Mike Zunino, and Brad Miller will hit against Phil Hughes here in the 5th inning. Down and in, ball 1. Morrison off to a slow start, hasn't driven in a run. Sub 200 batting average. The Mariners signed to a minor league deal Carlos Quentin the other day. Quentin's had an interesting year. Traded from the Diamondbacks to the Braves, released by the Braves, signing a minor league deal with about 3 weeks to prove that he's got something left. Probably not as an outfielder anymore because he's had some bad knees. Another one driven to deep right field. This one's carrying and gone. Morrison with a well-hit ball to right field. His first home run of the year. His first run batted in of the year. And it's 2-0.
Yeah, Morrison, who in 99 ball games last year hit 11 home runs. Got hold of a fastball and makes it a 2-0 ball game. Second home run that Hughes has allowed.
Swing and a miss by Zunino. Leadoff home run for Cruz in the 2nd. Now a leadoff home run in the 5th for Morrison. Strikes.
Zunino has some power. 22 home runs last year. He has 2 so far this year, but the batting average last year in 131 games, 125 of those behind the plate. Very durable behind the plate. Hit only 199.
Last year, Phil Hughes in 209 2/3 innings gave up just 16 home runs. And he's having a tough time early on this year keeping the ball in the ballpark. He's given up 6 already on the season. Swing and a miss. Zunino gone, 1 away.
And strikeout number 5 in a ball game for Hughes, getting Zunino for the 2nd time.
Tomorrow, MLB returns, starting with an AL Central battle. The Indians took it to the Tigers tonight. They'll meet again tomorrow. You can only see that game on Fox Sports 1. Then it's the return of the Subway Series. The Yankees beat the Mets, ended their winning streak tonight. The next game of that series will be tomorrow. Coverage begins at 11:30 Central on America's Home for Baseball every Saturday. Stroke to right, a solid hit. Fox Sports 1 streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
I know you're talking about Phil Hughes, Dick, giving up 6 home runs. 5 of them so far have been solo home runs. You don't like giving up home runs, but, you know, stay away from that multi-home run.
Well, there have been a couple other well-hit balls here tonight in addition to the 2 home runs.
Yep.
Austin Jackson will bat.
Couple fly ball outs for Jackson.
Both of them to Torrey Hunter. One of them hit towards the gap. Strike on the outside corner. Eyes of baseball tonight on the second game of the Kansas City White Sox series at U.S. Cellular Field. Playing the game in a quagmire with a lot of rain, and it's 2-2 in the ninth, and as far as we know, the benches have stayed in the dugout.
Yeah, rumors were that Chris Sale last night went over to the Kansas City locker room and kind of confronted everybody that was involved in that little
well, it wasn't little
incident.
Nope.
That big incident that they had, and just trying to say, okay, let's just play baseball. But Ventura, the starter, he needs to be disciplined. That's just my opinion.
Shot foul when we were in Kansas City. He was disciplined. He had a fine levied against him. That didn't seem to work because of this incident last night.
Well, last night, you know, here Adam Eaton just hitting a ground ball back to him, and Ventura saying some obscenities to him, and both benches cleared. And it looked like it was going to be another dance, but all of a sudden Kane started yelling, and here comes Zamarza.
And again, this goes back, as you might have heard in the background. There's a ball lifted to center, and Miller all the way to second base. Schaefer with a stumbling catch. Miller, I think, lost track of where the ball was, and had Schaefer not stumbled a little bit, he might have had a shot at doubling Miller off. 2 down. Two down on a lazy fly ball. Some of the fly balls have not been lazy.
Phil Hughes doing a great job getting strike 1. 17 of 19 first pitch strikes.
Just one other thing in the video. I think you saw Edison Volquez wind up and fire a punch that thankfully missed its intended target. Suzuki catches ball 1 and will hand deliver the baseball.
Oh, I wonder if he was crossed up right there.
Baseball's got to, I think, suspend Volquez for the punch that was thrown.
Watch Suzuki. I think he's picking a breaking ball right there. He definitely was.
It was almost a strike at the knees. No announcements of suspensions were made today by the MLB office, but it's entirely possible that 2 members of the Kansas City rotation, Volquez and Ventura, will get some suspensions or some lengthy.
Well, tell you what, season just started, but Joe Torre has been busy thanks to the Kansas City Royals.
1-0 to Smith, and now 2-0. Smith with a strikeout on the first. He wrapped into a double play in the fourth. It's the only ball hit on the ground against Phil Hughes here tonight. Grounder to Dozier, and took care of matters in the third. 2-1.
Rich Donnelly, the third base coach, former teammate of mine way back in 1969, giving signs.
He's that old?
Yes, he is. He's older than I am, believe it or not.
Snap bat and a bouncer to third. Easy play for Plouffe. And that takes care of the fifth. Another Mariner leadoff home run. You're watching the Twins Mariners series on Fox Sports North, presented by Subway. North is presented by Subway. Dick Bramer, Bert Blyleven, Marnie Gellner out here in the great Northwest. Chilly weather. We're used to coming here in July as we did last year. This is the earliest I can remember coming out here in quite some time. But very glad they rolled the roof back.
Well, Felix Hernandez, 5 innings. He's thrown 50 pitches, 36 strikes. 7 strikeouts, no walks, only 1 hit allowed. It was Trevor Plouffe last inning, a single.
Here's Suzuki, struck out his first time up. Inside ball 1. Suzuki, Schaefer, and Santana. Twins somewhat broke the ice with a Plouffe 2-out single in the 5th. No history will be made here tonight in terms of a no-hitter or a perfect game. And now 2-0. Mariners have some bullpen issues. The problem is getting this guy off the mound. His pitch count very economical tonight.
Now, Hernandez does have 1 perfect game. That was in August of 2012 here in Seattle against the Tampa Bay Rays.
Swing and a miss.
Struck out 12 in that ball game. Last year he set a major league record when he had 16 consecutive starts where he allowed 2 or fewer runs in 7 or more innings. That's consistency.
Very close pitch taken for ball 3. 24 innings, 5 walks allowed so far on the year for Hernandez. Cat foul, 3-2. Just one other note. Last year the Mariners did juggle their rotation, saved Hernandez to pitch against the A's. That week when they jockeyed their rotation before the All-Star break, they went 3-4. Twins took 3 out of 4 in the series here, and the Mariners ended up 1 game out of a playoff spot. Toward the hole, backhanded by Miller, low throw off target. Suzuki will get a base hit, and then an error will allow him to go to second.
Yeah, Miller got to that ball quickly, but then threw it up the line.
So a runner at second with nobody out. Let's go to Marty Gellner.
Well, guys, I am in the loudest and rowdiest section of the ballpark down the left field line. This is King's Court, where they love tonight's starting pitcher, King Felix. For $30, you can get a ticket in this section. You get the free T-shirt, the gold K that everyone's wearing and walking in front of me right now, and you get this sign, too. The big K comes free. And when King Felix gets 2 strikes on a batter, they start chanting and hoping for the strikeout. This started as 1 section, just the first section in from the foul pole. It has expanded now to 4 sections wide, and they tell me they'll just keep going. As long as there is demand to sit in this section, they'll keep accommodating.
Fun place to watch a ball game. I misspoke. They have just given Miller a 2-base error. That surprises me.
Yeah, me too.
1-0 to Schaefer. Fouled away, 1-1. Miller deep in the hole, and while I think an on-target throw may have gotten Suzuki, it would have been an extraordinary play. And so I went ahead and put base hit and error, and no base hit has been awarded.
Yeah, for Miller, that's his first error of the year. That short.
I understand it if that would have been the first hit of the game, but since Plouffe got his base hit, Schaefer jabbed at it, and it's 1-2. 0 for 21 for Jordan Schaefer, and now 1-2 against Felix Hernandez. Kings Court wanting another strikeout. Foul tip, and the ball hit the ground. Zunino tried to sell it to Scott Berry, the home plate umpire.
Yeah, Scott Berry right away said no. That ball hit the ground first. Schaefer got a piece of it. Yep.
See if Schaefer can get the job done here. If not a hit, at least, even with 2 strikes, getting Suzuki up a base. That's to the left field corner. And a foul ball. Schaefer made a bid for an opposite field extra base hit.
Now, not a lot of room between that foul line down that left field line and the stands.
I'm sure that's what the bunt attempt was all about for Schaefer on strike 2. Just put the ball on the ground and get a sacrifice and get Suzuki up a base. The Mariners leading by 2. They probably wouldn't bring the infield in. Better chance for Santana if he can make contact to get the Twins on the board. Still 1-2 now to the number 9 batter. There, a base hit. Stopped by Miller, but he'll have no play. It's an infield hit. And Schaefer just concentrating on putting the ball in play, and he ended up breaking an 0 for 21 skid. First and third, nobody out.
Yeah, fastball away. Just put the barrel of the bat on it. Hit it past Hernandez. Miller, good effort, but even if he was able to get this ball, good sinker down and away, no way you're going to throw out Jordan Schaefer. So Twins get their second hit. Runners at the corners, nobody out.
And for what it's worth, 3 of the last 4 hitters have gotten base hits. Now, granted, the last 2 haven't left the infield. Here is Santana. Strikeouts really accumulating here for Santana. Fox Tracks presented by Chrysler. See if he can put the ball in play. Short center. Jackson. Catch. Suzuki bluffing a tag. 1 down. Not deep enough to score Suzuki from third. And that will bring up Hunter.
Well, Jackson played that ball like you want an outfielder to, with a runner at third base. Got behind it, caught it, and all in one motion got that ball back in the infield quickly.
When they put themselves in a good fielding position and throwing position, it's almost like you can watch them coil up. You know, they're ready. Every muscle in their body's ready to flow into a throwing motion. Here's Hunter. First and third, 1 down. Swing and a miss. Torrey with good career numbers against Hernandez. But the really great pitchers, and Hernandez is certainly that, they kind of bow their neck when scoring situations are presented to them.
There's only a handful of guys that you can say that could get a strikeout in this situation. Runner at third. 1 out.
And flared foul, 2 strikes.
And now ahead in the count, 0-2 on Torrey Hunter.
I don't know how you don't, if you're a hitter in a situation like this, just simply try to pick a pitch and hope you get it.
Good side, bad side. 24 hits and 77 bats already, 21 strikeouts.
0-2 to Hunter. Chop foul. You look where the pitches are. 3 pitches to Hunter, and they are at or below the knees. That's how you get strikeouts. That's how you get ground ball double plays. Suzuki at third, Schaefer at first. Long hold. Schaefer a candidate to steal, and we saw in Kansas City on Wednesday night, Twins are trying to open up the running game a little bit. Hunter tried to steal home early in the ball game. And the dirt smothered by Zunino.
That might have been the changeup right there. When you're ahead like that, you have to trust your catcher can do exactly what Zunino did. If you're ahead in the count, you want to see if Torrey Hunter will chase on that pitch just on the other side of home plate. But you have to believe that your catcher will stop it, and Zunino did.
1-2. Pitch well off the plate. But again, see on Fox Tracks where the pitches were. Nothing that Torrey could have, under any circumstances, elevated.
We've seen the hard curveball. I think this is now the hard slider that struck out Torrey Hunter.
In this 6th inning at bat, a good time to anoint Joe Mauer as tonight's DraftKings player to watch. Play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com, the official daily fantasy partner of Major League Baseball. Enter promo code Twin City. I beg your pardon. Now here's Mauer, and the Twins need a 2-out hit to get a run on the board. That takes care of that. What a job by Hernandez. The Twins, with a couple of infield hits and an error, put runners on with nobody out, but they still don't score. Toyota. See where Toyota takes you. Test drive one at your local Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. By Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, for the everyday competitor in all of us. And by McDonald's. I'm loving it. Beautiful view of a beautiful city. Mariners on a couple of home runs have a 2-0 lead over Phil Hughes and the Twins as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning.
Phil with 55 pitches, 40 strikes, starting his 6th inning of work.
First pitch tapped foul. There was a scoring change in the top of the 6th inning. They have given Kurt Suzuki an infield hit.
Good.
And then changed it from a 2-base error to a 1-base error. So the Twins do have 3 hits, all singles and all coming in the last 2 innings. Mariners have hit Phil Hughes harder than the line score would indicate. A couple of home runs, 5 hits, but there have been a lot of loud outs. Cano with a single his last time up.
Yeah, Trevor Plouffe may move from 3rd base over towards 2nd base.
Cano singled his last time up. He continues to do his best against the Twins. Came into the game with a .342 career mark against Minnesota. He'll be followed by Nelson Cruz and Kyle Seager. Up and away, 1-2. Twins went 5-2 against the Mariners last year, including taking 3 out of 4 in that series here in July. To the only infielder on that side. Santana there, 1 away. Let's get caught up. We anticipated a pitcher's duel, and for the most part, we've had one.
Yeah, I really have. A couple of mistakes by Phil Hughes. One to Nelson Cruz to lead off the 2nd inning. His 9th home run of the year, a solo home run. And then Logan Morrison, a solo home run leading off the bottom of the 5th. Made it a 2-0 lead. And so far, Felix Hernandez has made it hold up. 8 strikeouts in the ball game, no walks. He's given up 3 hits, all singles.
Here's Cruz. Fouls the first pitch back. The Mariners this year have hit 20 home runs. Cruz has nearly half of them. It is 9th home run of the year. Opening the second inning. Popped up. Short right field. Dozier out. Ooh, rattled around in there a little bit, but he held on. 2 down. And that'll get us to Kyle Seager. The Mariners went the route that, well, the Twins have tried to do it. When they've been successful, they've done a good job of it, promoting from within, developing your own players. But they were stymied because they did not have the prospects that broke through and had a big impact up here. Went out into the free agent market to get Cano and Cruz, but Seager, one of their own guys that they hope to build around. Austin Jackson acquired from the Tigers to anchor center field.
Yeah, Seager signing with the Seattle Mariners in 2009. Last year, our All-Star. In his first All-Star appearance, also won a Gold Glove at third base.
1-1. I'm old enough, and you are too. You're older than I am. You remember the TV show Have Gun Will Travel.
Oh, yes.
Well, that's kind of what free agency is in baseball. And one year you can have to pitch to Nelson Cruz. The next year he can be hitting home runs for you. It's particularly gratifying for an organization if they can win with guys like Seager, as the Twins won, with guys like Gaetti and Herbeck and Puckett. But in reality, no team, as lucky or as good as they are in the drafting and development, can fill out your roster exclusively with your farm system. You've got to go out into the market, and now the Twins have on the pitching department to try to get competitive again. Seager strikes out, and a good 6th inning for Phil Hughes. You're watching the Twins Mariners series on Fox Sports North, presented by Subway. Mariners up 2-0.
Yeah, a couple solo home runs, one by Nelson Cruz in the 2nd inning, and then a solo home run by Morrison in the 5th inning. The only scoring in this ball game. We knew it was going to be a pitcher's duel. You knew it was going to be a low-run ball game, and right now the Mariners up 2-0 thanks to King Felix. He has been outstanding. 68 pitches, 54 strikes, and 6 shutout innings.
Twins had a chance in the 6th to at least get one, but Hernandez denied the Twins, and now Dozier leads off the 7th inning. Twins have gone 5-4 over their last 9 games. And one of the reasons they've done a much better job, in fact, a very good job of hitting with men in scoring position, hitting over 300, 309, which is a good average, especially given the team batting average with men in scoring position. And here they had a chance, 1st and 3rd, nobody out, and went 0 for 3. And now in the dirt, Zunino blocks 1 and 2.
Well, both starters doing well. Hughes just at 2 solo home runs. No walks by either starter.
And right down the middle. And Dozier so frustrated because everything Hernandez wants to move, he can move left and right, and he threw a fastball down the middle for strike 3. During the month of April, Fox Sports North wants you to share your excitement and passion for Minnesota sports using the hashtag #AprilMadeMeDoIt. Send a photo of your family decked out in team gear, or maybe your face is painted in team colors, as long as it shows your enthusiasm for your hometown team. And follow at Fox Sports North on Twitter to find out how you could win an April Made Me Do It prize pack. Hernandez again fielding his position and coming up limping a little bit. Could have landed awkwardly on the mound.
Yeah, a couple times against Vargas, he's had to kind of leap and get the ball. First time up, Vargas was up. He hit it to his right side. Here, this one kind of going over his head. Hernandez leaps up, comes down with it. Might have tweaked his ankle a little bit.
Two down quickly here in the 7th, and now Plouffe, who lined a sharp single to right center field for the first Twins hit, first Twins base runner with 2 out in the 5th. Missing inside, ball 1. Tied 2-0. Chopper up the middle. Plouffe has his second hit. 2-out single. Just out of the reach of Cano. And now you just hope that Felix Hernandez throws one where Oswaldo Arcia is swinging.
Yep, that's what the Twins are looking for right here.
Arcia with 1 home run, 0 for 2 today. He has put the ball in play twice, pulling it both times. Off the plate, ball 1.
Hernandez pretty stingy on giving up home runs. Only 16 home runs allowed last year in 236 innings pitched.
Breaking ball down and in, and Arcia with an awkward swing, 1-1. 79 pitches for Hernandez. Lloyd McClendon said before the game they didn't want to stretch Hernandez out to 110 pitches, but boy, the way he's going, he just has 7 outs separating him from a complete game. Tap foul, 1-2.
Like I said, complete games are a thing of the past right now. Hernandez's last complete game was that shutout against the Twins back in 2012. His last outing here against the Rangers last Saturday, he threw 111 pitches in 7 innings.
And a base hit for Arcia. And Plouffe will round second and go to third. The Twins putting together a 2-out threat here. And a nice job by Arcia tonight. Very strikeout prone against one of the top strikeout pitchers in the game. And Arcea's put the ball in play 3 times.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's a changeup right here. Something out over the plate. Sinker down and away, and Arcea just reached down and hit it right back up the middle. And Trevor Plouffe going from to first to third.
And now Suzuki, 1 for 2, struck out in the 3rd, then got an infield hit leading off the 6th, advanced to second on an error. Twins couldn't take advantage of this 1st and 3rd situation last inning with nobody out. Now they built this situation with 2 out. Suzuki takes outside, ball 1. Oh, strike 1. Barrett said he went around, and Suzuki can't believe it. From up here, I didn't think it was close, but
almost Suzuki said right there, wow.
driven to right field. Cruz is there. Well hit ball for the final out. The Twins put together a 2-out threat, but still have not scored against King Felix. And there have been a lot of them for Felix Hernandez. Phil Hughes has had the misfortune of being locked up against one of the game's great pitchers again in Felix Hernandez, and also giving up a couple of long home runs. That's the difference in the game. 2-0 as we go to the home half of the 7th.
Credit Phil Hughes. He's throwing strikes. 21 of 24 first pitch strikes. Just made a couple mistakes, couple fastballs. One to Cruz, one to Morrison.
His pitch count's actually better than, or could be better than Felix Hernandez's if he has another quick inning here. 1-1. A little bit low. 2-1.
Yeah, 70 pitches right now for Hughes. 51 strikes.
Twins got a really good effort Wednesday night from Mike Pelfrey. 2-hopper from Mauer and an easy play to the bag. 1 down.
This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Minnesota Twins, LLC.
Logan Morrison's had the best at bats against Phil Hughes. He's creamed the ball twice. First time he hit it to the warning track in right center, and Jordan Schaefer hauled it down right at the wall. The next one traveled about 30 feet further to about the same spot on the field. Off-speed pitch and strike 1.
Started Ackley off with that slow curveball to get strike one, as he does Morrison here.
Fastball up and away. Pelfrey gave the Twins 7 innings in Kansas City. Then yesterday's off day, and now it looks like Hughes is certainly going to complete the 7th. He might actually have enough left to go 8, maybe even 9 if the Twins can score a couple of runs. Foul back. Well, the Twins would welcome that after just about every other team overusing their bullpen the first 2 weeks.
Well, you need a couple pitchers in your rotation that will go 7 innings, and Phil did such a good job of that last year. You know, it just gives some of those guys in a bullpen a day off.
Fly to left. Arcia has a chance. Back, now in. 2 down. Follow Twins baseball all season this year with MLB.com At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bats up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com At Bat for your smartphone or tablet. 2 down. Well, Lloyd McClendon was talking about that, you know, because as I said, the Mariners had an off day yesterday, and now they come back with Felix Hernandez. And his contention was that'll go a long way toward healing a tattered bullpen when you've. J. Happ actually had a good game, a Pelfrey type of game on Wednesday.
Right.
And then you get the off day, and then you come back with your #1 guy, and that should allow your bullpen to recover. Mariners.
I think what we've seen over the last 4 years, Dick, because of the inconsistency of the starters not going deep, come August, that bullpen's worn out. And these are starts like this and Pelfrey's start. Give those guys a little breather. And for the 3rd time, Phil Hughes strikes out Zunino for strikeout number 7 and another 1-2-3 inning.
Today by all those Cleveland left-handed batters. We go to the 8th inning. Jordan Schaefer will lead things off for the Twins, and Danny Santana and Torrey Hunter. Said you won't see any history tonight, and in terms of a no-hitter or perfect game, no, you won't. But you might see an oddity. There have been 117 games played by American League teams this year. There has been 1 complete game. 1. Schaefer flips it foul. The Yankees have one, and I'm not sure who it is that has it for them. But we're in position here where both Hernandez, the Seattle starter, and Phil Hughes, the Twin starter, they could triple the number of complete games in the league in tonight's game alone.
Both starters doing a great job.
1 and 2 to Schaefer. He singled his last time.
In the National League, there's 118 games before today's play, only 2 complete games. So, yeah, like I said before, complete games are a thing of the past. Hernandez has 23 of them.
This is 87th pitch. Just off the outside corner. 2 and 2. No walks. The Twins do have 5 singles.
Hernandez with 9 strikeouts. Phil Hughes with 7.
Check to swing. 3 and 2. The closer here for the Mariners is Fernando Rodney, and he's had some issues this year as well, although he does have 4 saves.
So second 3-2 count for Hernandez against the Twins hitter.
Easy to pick out Rodney. He's the one with his cap askew. It's hit to center. Playable for Jackson. 1 down. Back to our trivia question. Pitched the most innings since 2005 entering tonight's games.
Well, you think it would be this guy, maybe Verlander, maybe Scherzer.
Dan Herron? I could have been guessing till April 24th of next year and not gotten that.
How did he get that many innings? He spent most time on a disabled list. Do you get innings when you're on a disabled list?
You get service time. You don't get innings. Bunted foul, 1 strike. Santana 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. As you mentioned before, the Mariners have a Gold Glove winning third baseman in Kyle Seager. So it's going to take a good bunt for Santana to reach. 1 hopper back to the mound. 2 down. And that'll bring up Torrey Hunter. Twins' best chance to score came in the 6th. A couple of infield hits and an infield error put runners at first and third with nobody out. But then Santana hit a short fly ball, not deep enough to score Suzuki. Hunter struck out. And then Mauer grounded out. Fox Tracks presented by Carrier. You know what? The pitcher might win a Gold Glove. That's his 4th assist in the ball game, and the Twins go 1-2-3 in the 8th. Wow. Strike one.
Tom. Thank you, Tommy.
Brad Miller will lead off the 8th inning, facing Phil Hughes. The reason I couldn't remember who from the Yankees has the lone complete game in the American League is because it was one of those 8-inning complete games in a loss, and it was CC Sabathia. And I frankly have to thank one of my Twitter followers for that information. That's the fate awaiting Phil Hughes, perhaps, unless the Twins can get a couple of runs against Hernandez, presumably, or the bullpen in the top of the 9th inning.
Well, Phil's retired the last 8 straight. Hits are even at 5 apiece, except the Mariners have hit 2 of those out of the ballpark. That's it. 2 solo home runs.
Miller, Jackson, and Smith to face Hughes in the 8th inning. And Phil Hughes picks up another strikeout.
Strikeout number 8 in the ball game for Phil.
I mentioned that his strikeout numbers have gone down from start to start so far this year.
I think this is the best control we have seen Phil this year.
There have been some awful swings against him tonight, including that one. Here's Austin Jackson.
Well, he's never lost here at Safeco Field.
Slow breaking ball for strike.
You know, and that's a good pitch. I talked to him about that. And he said, you know, that's kind of like a changeup to me. Just get strike one. It's not really a strikeout pitch, but it sure helps get ahead of the hitter.
A rocket on a fastball into center field, and Jackson has a 1-out single.
Yeah, Jackson picks up his first hit.
And now Seth Smith will bat.
That's amazing. Phil has now faced 28 batters. He's been able to get strike one on 25 of the 28. That is pounding the strike zone early.
Smith with a strikeout and 2 ground balls, one of them turned into a double play. Twins saw a lot of Jackson on the bases when he was with the Tigers. Great speed, but his stolen base percentage left a little bit to be desired with the Tigers.
Yeah, last year 20 stolen bases and 26 attempts. 1 for 2 so far this year.
His absence was felt by the Tigers last year. They tried to get by with Rajai Davis in center field. Now they've got Anthony Goes. Goes is having a tough time making contact now, and that shouldn't take anybody by surprise. That was his knock with the Blue Jays.
Right. We started off hot.
Tigers got thumped today by the Indians. Now they've lost 4 in a row, and oddly enough, one of their big issues is scoring runs. They did not have that problem through the first 2 weeks of the season. They got some bullpen issues with Nathan Dunn for the year. 1-0 to Seth Smith. There goes Jackson. And Suzuki's throw on one hop, not in time.
Well, Jackson gets a stolen base, his 2nd of the year. And for their Mariners, they're 6th in 9 attempts. Good jump right there off of Phil Hughes. A one-hopper to Santana. The quick tag. And Jackson just getting that foot on the bag. Going straight into the bag.
See how close the throw comes to hitting Hughes, who had his back turned to the plate. Oh, he had him cleared by 3 feet. 1-1 the count to Seth Smith. Foul back 1-2. Smith's had great success against Hughes coming into tonight, 5 for 10. He struck him out in the first inning, hopes to get him here in the 8th. Blaine Boyer warming up in the Twins pen. Struck him out. 2 down.
Strikeout number 9, so both starters have 9 strikeouts.
Time now for What's Next, brought to you by CenturyLink. Another night game tomorrow, but it starts an hour earlier. That's probably okay with Trevor May, who grew up a couple hours south of here. He'll have a big contingent of friends and family here. Paul Molitor coming to the mound, and Hughes might not have the chance for that 8-inning complete game. Cano, the batter, first base is open, but Cruz, of course, hitting behind Cano.
Yeah, Paul didn't make a motion out here. I think he just came out to talk to Phil, see what he wanted to do against Cano, with, you mentioned, Cruz on deck.
Cano 1 for 3. Boyer, Thompson also warmed up.
Hughes at 88 pitches, 66 strikes.
9 strikeouts, with Hughes coming into the game just having 13 strikeouts. And Cano takes inside. This might be one of those, I'm not going to throw him a strike, and if he wants to chase, I'll let him chase.
Don't walk him, but don't give me anything too good to hit.
And they pay pitching coaches to say that, don't they? Left field line, deep to the pole. Arcia chases it, but it's back in the crowd. Arcia would have had a play on it had it stayed on the field of play.
Now Suzuki sat inside. The ball ran out over the plate, and Cano hit it the other way.
Talked about both players leaving New York through free agency. Cano and Hughes. The challenges, though, were different. I mean, the Mariners signed Cano, and they just basically said, look, do what you did with the Yankees. In the case of the Twins and Phil Hughes, they wanted him to do better than what he had done with the Yankees. Hughes had some disappointing years with New York. Found a new home in Minnesota and responded.
Yeah, the Mariners giving Cano a 10-year contract at $24 million a year.
1-2. And now 2-2.
But you know what you have in Cano is a guy that plays every game. I mean, he's kind of like Miguel Cabrera if he's healthy. He's missed only 19 games over the last 8 seasons. Cano has. So he has stayed healthy. When 3 fastballs where they wanted middle in, then they tried to get a fastball away. Watch Suzuki where he moves.
Foul back.
And Suzuki's going to go talk to Hughes about this pitch.
Just get the sense with the first trip to the mound and the way this at bat has progressed that this might be Hughes' last batter. Two and two. That's down the left field line, twisting, foul by inches.
Well, they went back away again, and Cano's such a good hitter. Ball just went foul.
Three feet.
Career .310 hitter coming into this year. His 11th season.
Another 2-2 pitch. Rifled to Santana. Wow. That ball accelerated as it got closer to him. 8 innings, perhaps a complete game for Phil Hughes, unless the Twins can score in the ninth. King Felix has been royal here tonight.
We might see a couple complete games here. Who knows?
Mauer to lead things off takes a strike at the knees. The Twins have their 3, 4, and 5 guys up there. Mauer, Dozier, and Vargas, but they are a combined 0 for 9 with 4 strikeouts. Dozier struck out all 3 times against him. Tampa right side on 3 hops to Cano. 1 down. It's a relic, the complete game, the 9-inning complete game, but Felix Hernandez hoping for number 24.
Well, again, the last complete game he had was against the Minnesota Twins in Minnesota back on August 27th of 2012 when he threw a 5-hit shutout against the Twins.
Each starting pitcher has 9 strikeouts. Hernandez has not struck anybody out since he got Dozier for the 3rd time, leading off the 7th inning. Dozier's gone down on strikes all 3 times.
And King Felix with 9 career shutouts.
1-1. Twins need a bloop and a blast, and Dozier would be happy just to make contact here. 2-1, or take a walk. Vargas on deck.
There has not been a walk in the ball game. Both starters with 9 strikeouts.
Which is why this game is now just 2 hours old. High fly to left field. Ackley under it. 2 down. And that'll leave the game to Kenny Vargas.
Tim Hudson, the veteran, with 13 active shutouts.
If Tim Hudson's a veteran, what's Bartolo Colon?
He's an old man.
Here's Vargas. He's put the ball in play 3 times, twice back to the mound.
That'll be pitch number 100 for Hernandez.
Foul. And Hernandez is one strike away from his 10th strikeout and the completion of a 5-hit shutout.
34 times he has had 10 or more strikeouts in a start.
Back to the glove of Hernandez. And he's got his shutout. And the American League now has 3 complete games. 2 of them tonight. Tom Hanneman, we expected a pitcher's duel.
We got it.
And we got it, but the Twins come up on the short end.